Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. Hi guys. So happy Wednesday. Yes. I'm gonna go back to what I originally was doing Wednesdays for migrant Wednesdays. So we're gonna talk about everything migrant, illegals, immigration, all that. And there's a lot going on with that. However, as you guys can see, I posted a picture of Ananda Lewis. She passed away today. She had a long battle with stage 4 breast cancer. She was very vocal about it. And yeah, rest in power, rest in peace to Ananda Lewis. I remember her back in Teen Summit on BET. See, we need more shows like that. And Ananda Lewis inspired even myself, a lot of young Black kids, girls, boys, to get education, the key of education and going to college. So she was well spoken, very nice, and she hit a lot of hard hitting topics that teens were going through and still continue to go through now. So rest in peace, rest in power to Ananda Lewis. And it's very important, women, get your annual mammograms annually. I don't do 5 years, 3 years. I do annually. It's very important, preventive health. So I wanted to say that. Um, guys, please hit the like button. Share this video on all your social media outlets. Honey, and I got my new glasses. Isn't it? Don't you notice? These are Chloe's, honey, but I got my Toms and I got the Chloe's. Yes, I needed to get an upgrade on the prescription because the eyes ain't getting any better. And of course, I needed some new lens. So let's get into it, right? Migrants and ICE, national anti-ICE protests and riots, looting, all this other stuff. Now it's nationwide: Chicago, New York City, Denver, some cities in Texas, a hot mess. But I have a special guest, and we're going to start off talking about Trump, but I want to talk about the Trump um, account babies, or babies account. So I want to bring my guest on, so I want to get right into the topics. And his name is Mr. JT Pocket Watcher, right? I hope I said it right. Was it Pocket Watching with JT? Let me put this as the background now. Give me a sec. And then let me add this. And then let me bring him on. Hi.
Dana, thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So is it Pocket Watching with JT?
Yes.
JT
Yes. It's Pocket Watching with JT, but somehow, some way, my subscribers, the greater YouTube world, they just say JT Pocket Watcher. Right. I don't know how. I don't know how that happened, but that's what they go with, and that's what I'm known as. But the official name of the channel and the brand is Pocket Watching with JT.
Okay. So I've seen you before. You actually donated to my platform a couple of times. Yes, you.
I like good content creators.
Okay, thank you. And you as well. You do have good content, and you kind of put your name on the map because you were calling out a lot of these scammers.
Yes.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself to my audience?
Yes. So I'm Jason Thornton. I am a CFP. That means I am a certified financial planner, which is the highest standard for financial advisors around the world. All right. I specialize in tax and retirement planning for my clients. My firm is based out of St. Louis, Missouri, but I serve clients all over the country. The way that I find myself in YouTube is that I have clients in the real world who watch the same viral videos from the financial influencers, and they would hit me up and say, "Hey, JT, is this something that I can do?" Oftentimes I would tell them, "Hey, not only can you not do this, this is probably illegal." Right? It's either tax evasion or some sort of pyramid scheme. And eventually I would kind of make reaction videos for my clients privately, kind of telling them, "Hey, this is stupid." And then I said, let me try doing it on YouTube for the greater audience. And 130 something thousand subscribers later, it kind of snowballed into what we have today.
Yeah, and it's needed. Talking about money, people don't like to talk about money, like to spend it. They know they gotta make it in order to spend it. Listen, I am a spender. I am a spender. But I'm not getting any younger. And it's like, okay, you want to grow old gracefully, with a nice
Mhm.
nest egg and healthy, just in case have slip fall or whatever the case may be. So, so
That is so true. There are people who will openly discuss in great detail their
mhm.
sex life, but will not talk about their financial life in any meaningful way. They'll brag about the new car that they bought or the new bag that they bought. They'll brag about the superficial stuff. But
Mhm.
if you try to sit them down and say, hey, do you have a budget? How much do you actually have in saving? Have you been contributing to your retirement plan? They are not trying to have that conversation whatsoever. I try to have it over here on my channel, try to open up the floor and give people an opportunity to ask an actual qualified, certified financial advisor these type of questions. But we've got to kind of shift that in the culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We have that. It's American culture and Black culture.
All together.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's get into it.
Mhm.
I'm calling it, well, they're calling it Trump accounts, right?
Yes. Yes.
Let me share this.
Mhm.
Let me share this.
Yep. There it is.
Yeah. So, pros and cons of the $1,000 baby bonus in Trump accounts, according
Mhm.
to experts. And you are an expert.
Mhm.
So, Republicans' tax and spending bill includes a new savings account for children that comes with $1,000 deposit from the federal government. Earnings in Trump accounts grow tax deferred, and
Yes.
qualified withdrawals are taxed at a long term capital gains rate.
Mhm.
Experts weigh in on how the measure stacks up the other tax advantage savings plan. And I want to play this clip real quick
Okay.
because he announced this, I think it was Monday. He had a roundtable in the White House with all the big bank and financial industry heads.
Mhm.
This is quick.
Here's how the accounts work. For every U.S. citizen born after December 31st, 2024, before January 1st, 2029, the federal government will make a one-time contribution of $1,000 into a tax-deferred account that will track the overall stock market. In other words, it'll be pegged to an index that we'll pick. Right, Michael? We'll pick it. We'll pick a good one. Maybe you should be the index. I'd like to have that. These kids would be very wealthy if that were the case. That would be a good idea. I think we might do that, Michael Dell. These accounts will be private property controlled by the child's guardians, and in many cases, those guardians will be the parents. We think probably the parents will be the guardians. They'll be open for additional private contributions each year from family, friends, parents, employers, churches, private foundations, and more. This is a pro-family initiative that will help millions of Americans harness the strength of our economy to lift up the next generation, and they'll really be getting a big jump on life, especially if we get a little bit lucky with some of the numbers and the economies into the future. In addition to the substantial financial benefits of investing early in life, extensive research shows that children with savings accounts are more likely to graduate high school and college, buy a home, start a business, and are less likely to be incarcerated. Trump accounts will contribute to the lifelong success of millions of newborn babies. They are fully, and this will be very interesting, I think, for everybody to hear, they are fully funded through targeted reforms in the One Big Beautiful Bill, like the $1.7 trillion in mandatory savings, welfare reforms to stop waste and fraud, a 3.5% remittance tax, and more.
So,
Mhm.
what is your take on it?
All right. So there's a lot of confusion of what it is, what it's not, and what people are comparing it to. Okay. Personally, I think it's a great opportunity for working class Americans, especially working class African Americans, Black people in the United States. It's a great opportunity for people who are not used to investing, period. And especially for people who are not used to investing for their child. Okay. There are different options. There's always been options for investing for the future of your child. One of the biggest ones that they're comparing this to is what's referred to as a 529 plan. A 529 plan is an investment account that you can set up, and you can have your child as the beneficiary of this account. When you put money in the 529 plan, you do not get a tax deduction, but the money will grow tax free. And as long as you use it for education, you will never pay any taxes on the growth of that money. That is a plan that's been around for a very long time. Everyone really has the option to do that plan. There is a cap of how much money you can put in it. There's different things that you can do to finesse to put more in, but in 2025, it's $19,000 that you can put into a 529 plan annually for the child. Here's an issue that I get with a lot of people who call into my show and people who are just kind of new to the world of investing. They are afraid to invest in that account because they are unsure if their child is actually going to need it for education. Like, what if my child want to do this with the money, want to do that for the money? And whenever you give a person too many options, it can kind of paralyze them from actually making a decision. A lot of options sound good, but when you give a person who is not used to investing that many options and they're afraid that they're going to pick the wrong thing, it can cause them not to act. With this Trump account, it's like a stepping stone. Before a person can really dive into the deep end of the pool of investing for their children, this is a great stepping stone towards that because number one, it's getting funded with $1,000 at the beginning. Right, that gives someone initiative to do something. It's getting funded immediately, right, from the federal government. Another option or another component of it that's good is there's not a lot of options of what you're going to invest in. They're already saying, well, you put money in this, and we're going to peg it to the index fund, right? The S&P 500, is an index fund that has over the years given around 10% annual returns, which is good. They're going to peg it to an index so it takes the fear from an early investor to say, I don't know what to invest in. Should I throw it at Tesla stock? Should I throw it at this? Should I throw it at that? That's gone now. You put it in, it's going to be pegged to an index so they don't have to worry. So that's one good thing. The other thing is, it's like you're automatically enrolled. Right? It's like you don't have to worry about it. The government's going to set it up for you. And the reason why I say that's important is this. Many people have a employer plan at their job that is sitting there that they can invest in for their retirement. The problem is you have to opt into the plan. When you first get employed there, they give you a bunch of paperwork. The paperwork looks like it's written in Mandarin, right? That you don't understand it. It's weird. Most people are kind of living paycheck to paycheck. So they say, well, what's the big deal about me putting $50 every paycheck or $100 every paycheck? I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I'd rather have that money now than worry about investing it. When I make more money, I'll invest later. But later never actually happens. And based on the numbers that I researched, plans where you have to opt in, where you have to jump through hoops to get included, it's about a 28% enrollment rate, right? So that says that there's over 70% of people who are not participating in their employer retirement plan because of the hoops that they have to jump through to get enrolled. Now, there are some plans where you have to opt out, meaning if you do nothing, the employer automatically enrolls you in. Guess what's the enrollment rate on a plan where you have to jump through hoops to get out?
What's the enrollment?
90%. That's a huge 28% if you have to fill out the paperwork to do it. 90% enroll when they say, oh, well, they did all the paperwork for me. They already have a certain amount that's going in automatically. And you see more success rates going up for people saving and investing for their retirement because opting in is easy. They actually have to jump through hoops to opt out. And I feel like this Trump plan and these Trump accounts are kind of like that. It's an automatic enrollment. You got it. There's not much you have to do. It's going to get funded with the first $1,000. I think that's important. So I want to mention one more plan, though, too. Traditionally, we had the 529 plan. I talked about that. There's also another way that you can invest for the future of your children, and it's referred to as an UGMA account, right? We love weird acronyms and stuff when it comes to the finance world. It's really based off an act passed by Congress. It's referred to as the Uniform Gift to Minors Act. But basically what it is, it's an investment account, a brokerage account in the name of your child, but you as the parent, you are the one that is funding it. You are the one that is making the decisions. You're the custodian of the account. What this Trump accounts are, it's kind of like the best of both worlds between the 529 plan and the UGMA account. And it's a stepping stone for that person who really doesn't know what to do. Because with the Trump plan, you can use it for education. You can use it for starting a business, right? You can use it for, things that are a little bit more broad, right? Buying your first home. These are the things that you can use it for, and it opens up in steps. So when the child turns 18, they have use of 50% of the account. So 50% of the account, they can use it for first-time home buyer, education, starting a business. When they turn 25, now they can use 100% for those three things. When they turn 30, they can use it for whatever they want. And
I think, let me just jump in for a second. I think that is so great because it starts January 1st of this year, 2025, until of 2029, the end of 2029. Right. So whoever's born between that,
they get the $1,000. Yes.
Right. And so Black, white, or what have you, but specifically for Black people, that 5-year generation right there, it's how can I put it, to where it's like it's going to save that family lineage from being in poverty, I believe.
It gives them a head start.
Yes, it gives
more than any other generation when it comes to investing at the beginning, investing at birth, having that $1,000 fed in, and then other people can invest as well. They're also, providing opportunities because the max you can fund it per year is $5,000. You can put $5,000 in per year, and they're not just saying, okay, parent,
1,000 and let it sit and grow.
Right. And you can let it sit and grow, but you can contribute to it $5,000 per year. And they're saying, hey, yeah, the parents can, but also the grandparents. Also, nonprofit organizations, churches can kind of funnel money into these accounts. And these accounts are basically kind of locked up until that child gets to 18, where you can spend half. Then 25, you can spend the whole on those three things. And then 30, where you can spend the money on anything. So I think it's a great opportunity because some people are saying, well, what about the rich people? The rich people don't need this. Well, the rich people were going to already use either the 529 plan or the UGMA account. They're fine, right? Like, stop worrying about what the rich folk was going to do with it. This is actually targeted to working class individuals in the United States, especially when you think about the Black community. We talk about financial literacy. We talk about it a lot, but this is actually putting your money where your mouth is. You have an opportunity to automatically be enrolled in a plan where your child can build real wealth for the future, targeting, trying to steer them and promote to say, hey, education, home ownership, which is a big part of building wealth in this country, are starting a business. Those are the three things. And you are only taxed at the capital gain rate, right? The capital gain rate for most people who are going to be dealing with, we're talking about 15%. Not ordinary income where it's taxed. No. We're talking about 15% for the majority of the people who are going to be dealing with this. And if you decide to use it for something else outside of those three things, well, yeah, you're going to be taxed at the ordinary income rate, but that still is not that big of a deal because most of the people who are going to benefit at the highest points when we're talking about working class individuals, their tax rates are, you're talking about 22%, maybe less.
So let me ask you this as well, because Right. So these are children who are just born this year and
Mhm.
kids who are not conceived yet. And
Mhm.
I think this is also a way that Trump is doing. This is one of many incentives because in that bill, he also want to get rid of taxing gratuity and overtime. And that's
Mhm.
the big thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
just sticking to this, um,
Mhm.
I think it encourages people to have babies.
Well, but also, even if you're not one of the newborn babies who would get the 1,000, as long as your child is 8 or under, you can still open a plan for them. Even though they're not getting that $1,000 funded, you can still put in your $5,000 per year for any child that's under 8. You can open up the plan and you can keep that plan going all the way till they reach 18.
The Trump account plan?
Yeah, as long as they're under 8, they just won't get that
Oh, I thought it was
$1,000.
for newborns.
Yeah, no, the newborns get the $1,000. My understanding is this: the newborns get the $1,000,
Okay.
but an account can be open. A Trump account can be open for ages 8 and under.
Oh, okay. I didn't read all that. Okay.
Well, that I mean, it's
You
new.
did.
That's what I got from my interpretation. We're
Yes.
going to get more information. You know that the House passed it. Now the Senate has to pass it, and
Right.
there may be some changes. But my understanding is, as long as the person is 8 and under,
So
you can open up the account.
can I open up an account for my grandkids?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because I
Mhm.
thought it was just for people being born, but it's also, but that's being born mean automatic. The
Automatic
automatic.
$1,000 getting funded.
But 8 and under, I could
You can
open
get the
it
account.
out and fund it myself, and then it sit in the index and grow.
As long as you are a U.S. citizen with a real social security number, you get the benefit from this.
Now,
Yes.
speaking of U.S. citizenship, um, should Trump penalize businesses and corporations who employ illegals?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He's
See,
not doing
to me, this isn't a controversial topic. And I don't know why the left tried to fight for this, because what they're actually fighting for, they're fighting for a form of almost slave labor. Like really break it down. And when you say this is okay, you're bringing in illegal workers who are working for a wage less than what a US citizen would actually, demand, right? Okay. So when you punish these companies that are doing this, understand that you're hurting two people here. You're hurting the US citizens that should be working these jobs at a fair wage, and you're actually exploiting those immigrants, right? You're using them as political tools, but you're exploiting them. Whenever you put someone in a position and say, yeah, I'm gonna have you do something that I ain't gonna do, I'm gonna have you get paid a wage that I would never get paid that wage if I did the same thing, you're exploiting them. And the only thing that you can say to your defense is, well, prices will go up. If the company actually has to pay US citizens, livable wages to do that job, now the cost of your bread or whatever is going to go up. Well, it is what it is. So I'm supposed to now support a form of slave labor because I want my bread a little cheaper. To me, I don't even understand how the left can support that.
And here's the thing, because they're protesting and rioting in LA. They have a curfew now because the mayor's doing her job.
Mhm.
But it started when ICE were going into businesses that were employing illegals, that they knew it was illegals they're working. So I
Right.
get it. You go into places where you know it's illegals there and you scoop them
Mhm.
up, deport them. But what happened to the business? If you penalize, if the Trump administration, because if you're going to go hard on this, this is why I voted for him, right? One of the reasons, but penalize these corporations and these businesses. But I think he's not going to do it, and no administration has ever done it, but particularly Trump administration. He is about business. He doesn't want to punish his friends.
Yeah.
And I just think if you're going to go hard on closing a border, which he did, and deporting these people that's here, especially the criminals, you need
Mhm.
to penalize the corporations, which is considered a person that is what is that word? That is not initiating, but keeping the flames going in this.
Yeah, I got you. And listen, in a perfect world, I would say yes. Get rid of the illegal workers, punish the businesses that encourage them to come in, and they're actually facilitating the breaking of the law of them coming in and then paying them under the table and all the things that go along with that. In a perfect world, I would say do both. But you're still being punished, right? The point that I'm trying to make is the fact that ICE is going in, removing the workers, and now forcing them to actually hire US citizens at that better pay rate. The company's kind of getting punished already. And what I would like to see is some more incentives for those companies to hire US citizens. That way, obviously, their bottom line is going to be affected because their wages expense is going to go up. But at the same time, let's try to ease that burden, because having that illegal wage earners in is almost like a drug that they got addicted to so that they can increase their bottom line. Whenever you take a junkie off their drug, you got to slowly take them down off that high and give them something in the meantime. Otherwise, they're always looking to get back. So I feel like the way the economies work, if there was true justice, yes, take out the illegals and punish the companies, but you can't do that. You got to take out the illegals and find a way to slowly ease these companies off the drug that they've been using, which is damn near slave labor.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. So so in conclusion, with the Trump accounts, when I was looking in this article, the CSNBC articles, the pros and cons, they made a notation that the 525 college saving plan is superior. Much higher contribution limits, earnings grow on tax advantage basis, and yada yada. But overall, your final assessment of the Trump account and
it's a great plan. This Trump account is not replacing the 529 educational plan. It's not replacing the UGMA account. It is a small stepping stone before someone graduates and say, you know what? I've got, $1,000 in this plan. I've been putting $2,000 in this, but I really do believe that my daughter, my son, my grandchild is going to go to college. So I'm going to do the 529 plan now. Or, you know what? I think I'm going to do an UGMA account now because I got my feet wet. I got a good understanding of how this stuff works. So now I'm going to go to the bigger plans, which would be 529. You can put like $19,000 per year in that one, or the UGMA account where there is no limit to what you can put in. You can put $1 million in the UGMA account, right? But there's got to be a small stepping stone for working class individuals who are stuck in the middle and they're afraid to act either way because they don't know how it works, and it gets confusing.
Right. And I am very much pro for this Trump account plan, because I always say you have to invest in the youth because they are our future.
Absolutely. I mean, I always say this. You can tell a person's value system by how they spend their money. I look at people's bank statements all the time. That's one of the main things I do as a financial advisor. I have to assess the current financial situation of a client before I can give them recommendations on what they need to do to improve their financial situation. I can't just give them blind advice without knowing where are you now. And I have looked through so many bank statements. The issue is sometimes when your financial literacy is low, you don't know the avenues and the options that you have to spend your money towards what you say your values are. And for almost every parent, the number one thing that we're looking at is we want to help our kids improve and get a head start from where we started. But when you don't know how to do that, it's hard to get the job done. And this Trump account is an easy way to get them into the system, regularly investing for their children, seeing how compound interest actually works, not having the ability to pull on the money and do what they want to do with the money, just watch it grow, slowly put money in, starting out with $1,000 from the federal government. You can contribute to it $5,000 a year. And then when the child is 18, you can see how that works. And I think there is an opportunity to make a big change. I want to add this one thing real quick. As a financial advisor, I always ask the question, how did we go from the plantation to working in financial services? Because that's a big leap, right? Like that's a big leap from being someone that is, picking cotton to someone like me pushing numbers on a piece of paper. And as far as my research has been able to find, the biggest push on training African Americans, former slaves, to be accountants, to be bookkeepers, the biggest program was Freedmen's Bank in 1865 because they had 37 locations. St. Louis, Missouri was one of them, and they were mainly staffed by African American freedmen. That is the biggest push, the government making an opportunity of training African Americans in the financial service industries and actually giving financial literacy. Now, Freedman Bank was ultimately a failure because of fraud, and there's a lot of stuff in that. But one of the jewels of Freedman's Bank in 1865 is that it was a savings bank for newly freed Black men and women who now have wages, and it trained hundreds, if not thousands, of Black people who were picking cotton in the financial services.
And with that, I want to say thank you so much for coming on. I definitely want to have you come back.
Oh, sure.
Because I do want to pick up the conversation with the Freedman Bank. That needs to be talked about more, and some other things too with the finance and the economy and everything.
Sure.
So thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And then two, I'm going to send you an email for my own personal financial assistance.
I got you.
I need some advisement.
I got you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pocket Watcher. Again, people can go at Pocket Watcher JT on YouTube. And is that the same one for your IG as well?
Yes, you just go Pocket Watcher JT. You can find me. You can go to my website, which is pocketwatcher.net. I offer free consultations. You can just go to the website. You can book a free consultation with my office. You can speak with me one-on-one with whatever financial or money questions you have.
Okay. Thank you so much. And we will definitely talk soon.
All right.
All right. Have a good night. That was Mr. JT Pocket Watcher, or Pocket Watcher with JT. Pocket Watching with JT. I'm just going to say JT, Mr. JT Pocket Watcher. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to call him. Thank you so much again for coming on. Great information. This is why I like to bring people on who have a lot of knowledge in their field or in certain areas. So great conversation. That's some good content there. All right. So guys, I'm about to bring up P-Ray, but I need everybody to hit that like button. Hit the like button and share this video on all your social media outlets. Shout out to everybody that's watching on X, repost it on X. And I also started a goal. Yes. $5, $10 is my goal. So if you have a question, comment, or just want to say hello or just support the platform, please send it via Super Chat. Yes, but definitely hit that like button and share. Yes. So I'm starting a little bit early. And then next week, I must do an afternoon show just to see what the audience is like, and if it's better or whatever, or if I like it better, then I may keep that time. If not, I'm gonna go back to 9 p.m. But after this show, because I'm only going to be up here for an hour, after this show, I have a video premiering at 9:15, and I want you guys to check that out. So let me bring up P-Ray. Hi.
Hey, girl. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, honey, you got the headphones on, sound crisp
Yes.
and lovely.
I don't want to get cussed out 2 weeks in a row. That doesn't feel good. So here I am.
How are you today?
I am wonderful. I just witnessed a mass shooting perpetuated by a young Hispanic male, like literally 15 minutes before I sat right here.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm at my friend's house, and he lives like in the West Loop area, close to the United Center. I just so happened to step out on his balcony, and I saw like behind him, there are like other properties. So they were having a day party. There's this big influencer who lives around the corner or on the other side of the building.
Mhm.
Um, Derrick Rose was out here with him the other day. Okay, so he's like a big Chicago influencer. They're having this day party. So I'm standing outside and I'm watching like all of these different groups of children, not children, but like teenagers walking past. And I noticed this group of Mexicans kind of walking back and forth, like in front of the building because, okay, like if this is the building, this is the front, this is the side. And I'm watching them walk this way. So I'm on the phone with my homegirl and I'm like, girl, what these Mexicans on? She's like, what you mean? I'm like, they just walking back and forth. And then I hear do 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 do. I'm like, ah! So then I run in the house and slam the balcony door. When the shots subsided, I walked back outside and I saw them running back across the street. Then the group of Mexicans that were with that shooter were walking up and down the street, and they had one Asian kid with them. And that was really strange to me because I'm
Did
like,
the
where'd they pick
cops
up this
come?
one Chinese? I'm getting to that, Dana.
Okay.
So,
Well, we do got a show to go to, honey. So just
oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go fast then. So then I see, I'm like, who got shot? So there's a black boy walks past, a very tall black boy, and he's holding his leg. And I'm like, oh my God, they just shot this little boy in his thigh. So now the police and stuff are out there and they're doing whatever. But I'm giving the story to say that if you heard a story like this coming out of Chicago, you would automatically believe that it was a black person who did it. And I just saw with my own two eyes that that wasn't the case.
mhm.
So here we are, and this is why they gotta go.
Well, yeah, I do have a lot of illegals and
I mean, yes, the audacity.
the audacity that they call themselves trying to turn up with everybody else across the nation with these protests.
Didn't I say bring back the paddy wagons? Didn't I say this? Bring back paddy wagons. We need the paddy wagons right on back because what they need to do is like have like big old wagons and just scoop people in the wagons and then you take them somewhere and then you figure out what happened. Let you figure that out once we got out there because at the end of the day, they are not supposed to be here. You got these white people who are trying to shame us into going outside. You got Hispanics trying to shame us. You got foreign black people trying to shame us, which is why P. Ray pushes so hard for Negro. And the Negro is, and this ain't our business. But Dana, I've been saying this for months. This ain't our business. We knew this was coming when my Donnie got back in office.
hmm So, of course, these protests started in LA. It turned into riots. Trump issued the National Guard in California, and he will be deploying other National Guards in other cities if need be. It was a
Hmm.
protest in New York City as well. Let me play this clip.
Breaking just moments ago, NBC News reporting that ICE is preparing to deploy tactical units known as special response teams to 5 Democratic-run cities. Those cities, Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia, Northern Virginia, and New York. It's not clear if these raids will begin immediately, but all special response teams in those areas have been told to be ready to deploy.
And rightfully so.
Correct. Now, I want to clean something up because I don't want people to think that I think that all Mexicans are illegal or whatever. I'm just saying I literally just saw, some black people being attacked and shot up by some young Hispanic males literally 20 minutes ago. This is a mass shooting I just witnessed. So don't think I'm hating on them. This is like post-shooting trauma that I'm showing right now. But
Well,
yeah,
turn your camera. Your
I
kind of
see. What I don't know what happened.
just flip your phone.
No,
It's
it's already to the side. So
yeah,
maybe I gotta
flip
flip twice.
yeah.
Hold on.
And now your video thing went off. Okay, there you
Okay.
go. Yeah.
All right.
So your mayor you know, oh, what happened to Peter? Give her a second. She gonna hop back on. She hopped off. There she go. Yeah. There you go. You can hear me?
Okay.
Yeah. What is going on? Oh, she hopped off again. Here she go. All right, wait a minute. Where's this? All right.
Okay.
Why does it keep doing that? I think it's something. If you, I don't know. I may have to stop using StreamYard. There she go. Yeah.
Wait, hold on now. Is that good for you?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
You hear me? Okay.
All right. So back to what we were saying.
Yeah. So Chicago, and then here's the thing though, all of these protests, right? You have the freedom to protest, but guess what? You're supposed to have a permit when you're protesting. None of these quote unquote protests have permits. So you could come together and just with a whole bunch of people start marching or whatever and walking and holding up traffic, but legally you're supposed to have permits because it's a safety issue. um but no one has a permit. Your mayor, right? He Let me bring this up. He held a press conference.
You see, he
I
going
think I
bald, girl. He's going bald. Look at him at this press conference. So he's starting to go bald, and it looks like he put an S curl kit in it. So it's kind of like teased in the front, and you can see it's like leaving in the back. He got like a black Donald Trump going on right now.
So let me play this clip.
Why would you think that real Chicagoans should trust you to spend their money after you've already wasted millions of it on illegal aliens?
We don't have time for a long question today, sir, so just straight to the question. We're going to go
Please turn my microphone on?
Yeah, straight to the question. We're going to go straight to Heather. Thank you.
Jeez. I thought the theme of today's press conference was freedom of speech. At any rate, you have called on the citizens of Chicago to rise up against ICE, to resist ICE, to fight back against ICE. Many Chicagoans, including black and brown, tell me that that sounds like a call to violence. In light of the violence that we're seeing in Los Angeles now, the looting, the damage to property, the attacks on law enforcement, would you consider withdrawing that violent call to violence?
I believe in nonviolence. I believe in nonviolence.
Right. Well, you also have said that the illegal immigrants that are being targeted by ICE are the working families of Chicago. The real Chicagoans are now facing tax increases because you've spent millions of their tax dollars on migrants. They're including a grocery tax.
Okay, we need the question.
Why would you think that real Chicagoans should trust you to spend their money after you've already wasted millions of it on illegal aliens?
We are investing in people.
Is that really honestly your only answer?
We're going to go to Heather now. Thanks.
Wow.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi.
So I wanted to show this. Taxpayers forced to pay $1.3 million for Chicago migrant encampment that never was built. And we just heard he did not answer the question, about why should Chicago residents trust you with any budget or whatever. So what are your thoughts on this here?
So again, we always knew that Brandon was not a good guy. Okay, when I say good guy, I mean like fiscal agents. This encampment site was too toxic for them to build on because he was going to build this big old tent and put all the illegals in there, but he didn't test the land first because you know that Chicago is an industrial town. And if you were a true Chicagoan trying to build anywhere in the city, you know you got to get the soil tested first. However, he did not do that. But he bought the land before they tested the land. Does that make sense? He spent the money before the tests were done. So it was stupid. It was very, very stupid on his behalf. However, the fact that he keeps lying and trying to gaslight people to support these illegals is asinine. The fact that he keeps talking mess and, for lack of a better word, sassing the president of the United States is out of order. This man has the entire federal government at his disposal. So now Brandon is putting the entire city at risk and getting the National Guard to the city. Because what we learned from Lori is when the feds come, they're not just coming to look at this little box that they said that they're going to look at. For example, when they had the Columbus statues, President Trump made a law that you couldn't harm statues. It was a federal crime. So Lori used that to call in the feds to the city of Chicago. But the night before the feds got here, Lori pulled down 100% of the statues around the city. So when the feds got here, they were on the south and west sides of Chicago. And so that's what's about to happen with the National Guard in the city of Chicago if Brandon allows this to get out of control. And honestly, I don't think that we deserve it. You know, we've been asking for the National Guard my entire life to help us with this crime, but now Brandon is attracting them here for these protesters. What's his end game? Why does he care more about these illegals than he does about us? We don't know.
And he also made another stupid and I would say somewhat controversial, but stupid comment as well. Let me pull this up. So he basically was comparing, it says Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says that America under President Trump is what our country would look like if the Confederacy won, which I think that is crazy. I just want to play this clip.
They are absolutely terrified. And look, I remember a few stand-ups ago when I talked about what terrorism looks like. This is it. There should be no question to what our country will look like had the Confederacy won. We're seeing it on full display. And they are absolutely.
What the hell?
I keep telling this fool that the Confederacy was the Democratic Party. Anything that we're going to associate with the Confederacy has to go with the Democratic Party. He should know this because he was a social studies teacher, which means that he was undereducating a whole bunch of kids in the city of Chicago, but I digress. The fact of the matter is, this is what it looks like when the Republicans win. Every time there's a Republican in office, we get better border control, which then helps the Negro. I don't understand why Brandon does not see how harmful this is to our people, because he already has made promises to other people. He doesn't care about us. The only time he wants to use us is to try to make these little racially tinged, asinine comments. Oh, this is what it would look like if slavery was back in. Nah, Negro, because you wouldn't even be standing here if slavery was back in. The Republicans got us out of that jam, and we thank you on this wonderful Juneteenth holiday week. Okay? But again, it's just embarrassing. I think that the DNC really needs to get him in a room and explain to him how he personally is destroying the party, because the blue wall is destroyed because of Brandon Johnson. I was just standing outside again with a bunch of people, and all of them said, man, girl, you be right. You the girl that be talking that Republican stuff. You right. We ain't voting for them no more either. It's over with. And Brandon makes it easier and easier every day for Chicago Red. So thank you, Mayor Johnson. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But in the meantime, in between time, these people that are out here trying to blow up stuff, they had to bring the bomb unit down there yesterday. They had to shut down Lakeshore Drive, which is the road that takes you along the lakefront. They shut down expressways, and they didn't lock those people up for that. My homeboy, the Dre-haired cowboy, took his own horse that he paid for, feeds, and was keeping up on the expressway. They locked that man up and took his horse. And he was just trying to protest the killings of children. But these people can go out and protest breaking American law, and people like Brandon Johnson in the Democratic Party don't have anything to say about it, but praising the people and encouraging them to do so.
Yeah, and I'll see it, and this gives people the opportunity to break into these Apple stores or the high-end stores, you know, to grab, smash and grab. And so is it really about ICE, or is it about, okay, I could go outside and turn up and act a fool and hopefully get something for free? And terrorize the community, because that's cleanup. You gotta, and the city and the state, you have to pay for the police
Correct.
who have to come out. You know, the riot gears, all that's like that's overtime money. It costs more. And again, these are, I'm not even calling it a protest, because protests, an organized protest, you get a permit. You have to get a permit. So you know,
Correct.
so you could get out there and start protesting and walking, okay, fine, but it's not organized. So, and it leads into violence.
And those protest organizers should be charged with a crime for organizing without a protest. If we tried to do that, they would do that to us. If I said I was going to host a MAGA protest downtown, right? They would already have CPD down there waiting for me. Every time I said I was going to show up at Brandon's house, and I did, Brandon had the Chicago Police Department waiting on me when I got there. So why weren't the Chicago police waiting on those protesters when they got down there yesterday? Because this is what they want. They want this chaos. They want to be able to build on all of this intense energy to continue to push their message of destroying our country. And in Chicago, it's not going to work. It's over with. America, it is over. It is done. We are no longer going to be lockstep with these chaotic people who continue to put illegals on top of Negroes. We're not doing that anymore. And if you're a Negro who does that, please leave us alone and do not get in our way, because we're going to be calling ICE. And for those who are interested, that number is 866-DHS2-ICE, 866-DHS2-ICE, 866-347-2423. See something and say something today.
I got the ICE number right here on the screen.
Yes.
I wanna play this clip of Vivek, right? Going back to the race talks, because they love to lump Trump as being a racist, right? With no proof, but
I know Gavin Newsom. I actually happen to like him as a person. The reality is he's not going to like what I have to say on this, which is that his behavior is starting to resemble that of another Democratic governor from U.S. history by the name of George Wallace, who was the governor of Alabama, who famously stood in the way of federal desegregation. And in 1963, President John F. Kennedy had to deploy the National Guard of Alabama, just like President Trump is doing today. And I know that's counterintuitive to some people, but the parallels are actually pretty striking if you think about it. Democrat governors, when you look at George Wallace, he resisted desegregation. Gavin Newsom is resisting deportations. George Wallace wanted segregated cities. Gavin Newsom wants sanctuary cities. George Wallace stood in the school door blocking the way. Gavin Newsom is blocking the ICE vans. It's the same Democrat governor playbook. You dodge the feds, you rally the radicals, and most importantly of all, you do it in front of the cameras. Because what they were both doing is really carving their Democratic primary path for their presidential ambitions. And Jesse, you can mark my words on this one. Gavin Newsom's presidential ambitions are going to end in the same place that George Wallace's did, in the dustbins of history where it belongs. That's just the truth.
I agree with Vivek here, and I'm glad she's not running for governor of Ohio. But so it's like Democrats always say Trump administration, they're all racist, he's a racist or whatever. But when you look at it, if you know history, Gavin Newsom, a liberal blue state, did the same thing, was doing the same thing that Governor Wallace did. What was that, Alabama? He was governor of Alabama.
Yep.
In the 60s, when a president is coming in to try to make sure that you are not preventing or hindering on American citizens' rights. So, but then we have this black man sitting up here as a mayor of Chicago talking about oh, well, this is what America looks like if the Confederacy had won. So, you know, with all that being said, excuse me, I have a real concern when it comes to these illegals and the people that are supporting it. Because here's a clip of work sites, construction sites across the United States where they're putting up Mexican flags.
Correct. The audacity, the gall of it all. But you know, when Trump won in Chicago, they took all them flags down. The audacity. But you know what, Dana? If you know a work site or a factory or anything like that that are hiring illegals, if you call and report them, they're going to find those people and then you're going to get 30% of the fine. So you can actually make some money off this.
Oh. And
Hmm.
so they were burning the American flag. So they're putting up the Mexican flag on all these different construction work sites. And first of all, what does Mexico have to do with the illegals? Because a lot of these illegals are not, the majority are not even Mexican. They're from other places, right? So,
Hmm.
but I will give Mexicans some credit because they they are probably saying, let's use this as an opportunity to remind the United States that California, Texas was technically Mexico, and we want our land back type of thing.
They never stop fighting. They never stop fighting. That's the whole thing about it. Like, that's why La Raza literally exists. They are here to capture back the land, and they've been on this same type of time for over 100 years. That's why I never understood why we allowed a country that we literally went to war with and took a whole lot of land from. Why did we allow their flag to be on our land? Because this is what they've always been on. They gotta go. Like, I'm sorry, not all Mexicans, but if you flying that Mexican flag in the United States of America, that means that you still on that Mexican war stuff. You gotta go. This
Right.
is America. Period. I mean, and that's not racist. That's for any country in the world that has declared war with the United States, and you come and you put that flag in the ground as a way to exert your love for that country. That means that you're going against our flag. What you doing here? You
And
gotta
then
go.
Kim Kardashian, of course, she's anti the ICE. We were told that ICE exists to keep our country safe and remove violent criminals. Great. But when we witness innocent, hardworking people being ripped from their families in inhumane ways, we have to speak up. We have to do what's right. Growing up in LA, I've seen how deeply immigrants are women into the fabric of this city. There are neighbors, friends, classmates, co-workers, and family. No matter where you fall politically, it's clear that our communities thrive because of the contributions of immigrants. We can't turn a blind eye when fear and injustice keep people from living their lives freely and safely. There has to be a better way. First of all, those people, those immigrants and illegals do not live, they're not your neighbors, Kim. They're not your friends. They're not your children's classmates. So I'm so tired of these wealthy celebrities, and these elitists trying to have a sympathy heart for people who broke the law coming here illegally. And even ones who did not come here under Biden, they could have came here under Obama. Well, why you ain't get your paperwork together? Why? Because you came here illegally. So I'm gonna play this one last clip.
Yes.
I want to play this one last clip. I was going to do a separate reaction to this, but I'm going to do it while you here. So, and I like this person, Jamin Lou, and he's Mexican. So it's about 3 minutes.
You might want to turn your volume down. I might yell a little bit. I've been sent video after video, tagged in hundreds of videos about the stupid tontera shit that is happening in LA. All you hood, Chicanos, Latinos, Hispanos, Mexicanos, all you Viva la Raza motherfuckers, y'all are literally out here destroying property that don't belong to you. You're literally out here destroying your own barrios and communities. you're the weakest link of your entire bloodline and ancestor. As a matter of fact, your ancestors are looking at you ashamed as shit right now, because this is something that they wouldn't even back up. They wouldn't stand for what you guys are doing there right now at all. That's some real shit. Because at the end of the day, y'all are arguing and protesting to not send back chomos. People that have done some fucked up foul shit to kids, that have raped women and children, that have murdered some people that some of y'all know. You're advocating for them to stay here. Your ancestors would straight look at you and tell you, te lo hocico, pendejo. Have you noticed that not one Democrat has come out and said, hey, stop. Don't destroy your own property. Don't destroy your own community. Have you noticed that? It's only President Trump. And what's even more ironic than all of this shit is the people you're advocating to not get deported, the ones that come from Venezuela, El Salvador, Cuba, Guatemala, they don't give a fuck about none of you American citizens, even if you're a Latino, Mexicano, Hispano. They don't give a fuck about you simply because you were born on U.S. soil, pendejos. Like, agarra la onda, some of y'all's hate-filled hearts and fucking hate goggles are so fucking thick you can't even see the wolf in the henhouse. And you're doing exactly what the white man that you can't stand, you're doing exactly what he wants you to. And that white man comes from the Democrat Party. Have you noticed we don't see any members of the black community out there fucking protesting with you? The only ones in the white community you see are the fucking white liberals. Why is that? Agarra la pinche onda, güeyes. I said what I said. Stupid asses.
No, this is not. That was not George Lopez. I said that looked like George Lopez. No, but I love what he had to say, and he is a Trump supporter. And I followed him on X. And he spoke the truth because he mentioned, he's like, you don't say anything about the cartels, the human trafficking that's going on, especially when you have open borders, like what Trump is doing, closing the borders and with ICE or whatever. You do crack down on human trafficking. It slows down. So he hit on a lot of points, and a lot of times it should come from your own kind for it to really hit. But what say you?
I'm glad. So this is the thing. This is what I'm hearing in the Hispanic community. The Mexicans are mad with the Venezuelans because they were already living here with their equilibrium. They knew who was here legally. They knew who wasn't here illegally. They knew how to take advantage of the system. But the Venezuelans came and just made it too much, and now everybody's all messed up. And so now the legal Hispanics are trying real hard to separate from the illegal ones. And I don't blame them. This is why we have to be very careful when we have these conversations. And when I say in the beginning of the conversation, I'm not saying all Mexicans, but it's got to, like you said, come from their own people. The Africans are telling illegal Africans go home.
Turn your phone.
I don't know what happened again. Oh, I hope it doesn't start tweaking like before. Hold on.
Yeah.
Before it was like restarting and it was just a
Yeah.
mess.
I don't know. I may have to switch from restream. I don't know. I don't know if it's a restream thing.
All right,
There you
we're
go.
back. Um, but yeah, the Mexicans are telling each other this, the Africans are telling each other this, the Asians are telling each other this. Everybody's like, yo, we don't want the feds in our business. So if you and your illegal status are attracting these people to our community, you gotta go. And they're not wrong, you know. So I think if we all just relax for a little bit, stop looking at these protests, stop giving these people attention, the communities are going to clean these people out themselves and we'll be okay. I'm telling you, I think that this is a wonderful thing. Count it all joy. God bless America. Thank you, President Trump, for sending ICE to Chicago. I asked for it and he gave it to me.
So is the National Guard going to be coming into Chicago?
It's not even hardly that bad. It's because, like, with the Black Lives Matters, that's when they had black people outside. So it was like, people from everywhere. But this time, when black people saying stay at home, then white people staying at home because we are the ones who drive culture in this country. So because we're so loudly saying this is none of our Negro business, please leave us alone. Other people are saying, well, shoot, we don't got nothing to do with that either. They're right. Those illegals have to go. The greatest thing that came out of the Chicago Red movement was deracializing this deportation issue because they were going to try to use our melanin to drive it into the ground and make us support something that was going to hurt us.
So, again, P. Ray, thank you so much for coming on. I always
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you for having me.
Take those headphones off. Do not put it in your purse. Put it somewhere safe. You cannot use that during the day talking on the phone. No, that is just for the podcast.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap it into my light.
Yes. But so yeah, so what would you like to say in closing, guys? Go follow P Ray at Chicago Red P on X and go to the website chicagored.org and supports, and I will be putting the links in the description. But in closing,
I'm thinking about running for office, so I'll leave with that. I'm seriously thinking about running for office. I'm looking at the people who are running, and I'm like, I can't just sit on these cameras and sit on these microphones and do all of this talking. I got to put some skin in the game. So pray for me while I think about it. I think that it's time. I think that I put in my work. I think that I'm prepared for this moment because somebody got to do something. If we did not fight back, we would have been destroyed in Chicago. So it's time to take this energy to the legislature. And that's what I got.
thank you, girl.
You're welcome. Love you. See you later.
Love you too. All right, bye-bye. All right. And thank you guys for tuning in today. Listen, I got a video that's about to premiere. Go check that out. I hope you like my new glasses, the Chloe's. Actually, let me put on my other glasses, my Tom Fords, honey. Yes. First of all, I love Tom Fords. These are my fave. These are always my go-to, but I saw these Kellys. I'm sweating a little bit. And I said, you know what? The Kelly is nice, but I still have to get my Toms. Ooh, don't I look cute in the Tom Fords? Yes. You can never go wrong with Tom Ford glasses. All right, guys, listen. Make sure you share, like. Thank you again to Deborah who sent in the donation. Mayor Brandon Johnson, sad. Yes, he is sad and pathetic. Yes, he is. And matter of fact, y'all want to sit up here and say, oh, Danny, you look good, you look fine, yada, yada, yada. But y'all don't ever donate. This is work that I put into. Thank you again to JT Pocket Watcher. Yes, I'm definitely going to have him back on. He comes with great information. Go follow JT Pocket Watcher. His links will be in the description as well. Yes. Thank you to everybody that's watching on X. Yes, put some really good numbers in today. And I'll see you guys in the next video.